gate is so beautiful, and it's the first thing that you see when you enter the St. George's College campus. It just brings that sense of pride.
When the students arrive at the gate, they are greeted by something that challenges them to be better, that challenges them to excellence. And that's what that gate does. And he had a vision for that, you know. He was the one that with calling it the entry to excellence, because he wanted it to be clear that this is a school of excellence. When you step through that gate, that is what is expected of you.
When you were going to school, entering the compound of St. George's College,
Yeah.
what did you feel upon entering your high school each and every morning?
Yeah. It was a really, really great experience.
Experience and life's journey of Philip Hugh Wong, St. George's College graduate of the class of 1959. The story of an extraordinary philanthropic knight making our days. Who is he?
For me, Philip Wong is a simple guy, came from really humble beginnings. I used to live in Mavis Bank in the country. I went to elementary school there, Mount Fletcher High School. We had a shop there, and somehow I got a bug that I should go to St. George's College.
He is truly a friend of St. George's College. And he does it without looking for fanfare or any kind of recognition. In fact, any time that we recognize him, it is in his mind and heart, it is about having others see what he's doing and maybe jump on to help the college as well.
He's a very kind person, very generous. And he never hesitates if you are in need. So it's not surprising that when the school needed assistance, he jumped in.
Philip's place is going to be unchallenged as one of the outstanding products, not only a product of St. George's College, but a pillar on which the school rests. His philanthropy now is, I'm sure, equaled by some, but surpassed by none. And he does it in a humble way, in a gleeful way, in not beating his chest or parading around as, you know, God's gift, but simply doing what he thinks is right.
A man had never ever yet called me his son, and he made reference to me as his son. That was powerful. That shifted something inside of me and set me on a path to realizing that yes, there was a void in my life of not knowing who my biological father was at the time. But here was a complete stranger who was willing to own me, who was willing to call me his son, and I was very much proud to be called his son. Made me realize that someone who isn't connected by DNA could actually love and father another man's child.
Here is a stirring story of outreach beyond sponsorship. It's about stewardship, the robust development of scholarship awardee Jazeel Martin by benefactor Philip Wong. Is a story of interesting chapters beginning in South Florida.
Laddie Kong and myself actually started the association here in Florida. The very first thing we did, we came here and interviewed Philip, Laddie and myself, found out how his business was doing. From then on, he realized that Laddie and myself initially were very interested in St. George's growing and regaining some prestige. So he decided he would help. So the very first dance we had, he gave us a very good contribution. He liked what he saw, the effort we had made. The initial dance, we had about 800 people. Many of his old friends came. And from then on, I think he was motivated to help.
Jazeel was one of 5 scholarship awardees.
I got into the interview, and the icebreaker, of course, was a question posed by Dennis Barnett asking me to introduce myself and inquiring about my community that I came from. I paused after the introduction of myself before I introduced the community. hesitated whether to give him my Augustown address or to give him an Uptown address that I would stay from time to time with my sister. Then I remembered Philip saying, you know, be yourself. And I decided to be honest. And I told him that I was from Augustown, and Dennis Barnett was very much excited to hear that I was from Augustown because apparently he had some dealings in his youth in Augustown. So we shared a level of connection there. And then that was a great icebreaker. I got to know about Philip Wong and his history from as a student at St. George's College to becoming a businessman in Florida, and just his desire to give back and to help his younger brothers at St. George's College.
We are also very proud to have met you because from where you spoke to your mother, Philip and myself were so impressed with you. That very same morning before interviewing the other guys, he was.
We decided to give him.
We decided that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we decided you were definitely one of them. Oh. So you have fulfilled our dreams and expectations.
Yes.
I'm happy you're not disappointed.
No. I'm always very proud of you, man. Yes. I've always kept records of your progress, you know. And feel proud that we made the right decision, especially Philip, who was funding everything. He just asked me to come and help him.
Philanthropist Philip Wong remains a pillar of support.
There are a number of other students that Philip helped. He made sure that once he was going to help them, he's not just saying, here is the money. He actually is involved in how they go about what they're doing. And if there's any further help, etc., is what he does.
He provided 2 buses, a 36-seater, I believe 36 seats, and a 15-seater, both from his own resources. They have been served the school community tremendously, and that was also at a tremendous cost.
Philip Wong would have generously donated 2 buses. So in the event that one bus is broken down or one needs maintenance, right, another bus is there to facilitate other students. In terms of other students, some of them, for example, in terms of the rain has caused a lot of delay in terms of like the taxis and other forms of transportation. So the bus is here to aid for students that find it hard to go home.
He has done so much more in terms of helping out to fix up the lab, donations to the O'Hara building, to the pump for the fields. He
represents an old boy that demonstrates the core values of the school, an old boy that has demonstrated our mission and vision, which is to create young men of conscience, competence, and compassion that will be transformational leaders for society and the world. And that is exactly what he has done and who he is.
Being interested in who he is, you'd equally be interested in what he has been through. Life as a student at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, and as founder and CEO of Deltana Hardware Manufacturer in Miami, Florida, for 30 years.
He would tell me about his own journey, which is really fascinating to me. Coming from a situation of poverty, attending St. George's College, and making his way through the world and being successful at it. So his stories also impressed me because of the way that he was so resilient.
And my first day at UCLA, of course, I ran out of money because I paid the school fees. I had no more money. So I decided to pick up the school paper and look for a job. And in the paper, there was a job for a houseboy. I didn't really know what a houseboy was. So I called the number and I spoke to a Mrs. Van Grove. I spoke to her on the phone and she interviewed me basically. And she says, why don't you come over to my home? I live in Beverly Hills, California, the wealthiest area probably in the United States. And I'll explain what the job is and what we can do. So in 1 hour, I was over at our house and she interviewed me and she said, Philip, I like you and I'm going to give you the job.
He's a very determined person, resilient and patient.
To really understand what I went through, although at the time it didn't seem like a struggle, but I look back at it and I said, it was a struggle, you know, and it was a big fight to get where I am. But I enjoyed the whole time and I had fun doing it, and it never seemed to be exhausting or work or anything like that. It just seemed that it was kind of a natural evolution of things that happened.
What happened was a particular trail of interesting ventures by someone entirely determined and driven. From leading restaurants locally like Dynasty, the popular Wong Kai in Miami, where the Bee Gees dined, to the establishment of the Deltana architectural hardware manufacturer.
People used to call me and says, Philip, we want ceiling tiles. We need plywood. We need locks. We need hinges. Could you get those for us? So I started an import-export business, sending things to Jamaica to the people that wanted it. I shipped the things down, then I went down, clear the goods, deliver the goods, and then come back up and start over. And I kind of got tired of that. I tried to start a company that would import things from China to here. And somehow I started selling from the back of my car. I bring the things in and I would sell them to the local hardware stores here. And I called on a particular customer right here in Miami, FPG Hardware, as a matter of fact. And I would call on them every month. I called on them for a year, every month. And I never got an order from them. But I became friends with the general manager. His name was Gus. And one day Gus said to me, Philip, come here, I want to show you something. Come in my office. So I went into his office and he showed me a solid brass hinge. He says, Philip, I am buying this hinge from a company in California. I know they're making the hinge in China. And if you can bring this hinge in, I would buy it from you.
Philip is the person with the vision, you know, the vision for business, and I can help him. So we started working really hard, but good, you know, like with a purpose.
When the business took a downturn.
The business took a downturn, really bad, very, very bad. And it was a good 15 years that he worked hard, very, very, very hard.
What kept Philip Wong going?
I never thought of anything as a failure, so maybe that's why. It seemed like it was a stepping stone to do something else. And therefore, I got up.
Determination, perseverance. Those are the words that come to my mind when it comes to Philip. Working harder and harder and seeing beyond what was in front of him. He always thought about the future and what could happen and how it was going to happen. That was Philip.
I got a call from California one day in the early stages. This guy said, Dave, his name is Dave. Dave says, Philip, you don't know me, but I am Dave. I live in California and I represent one of the biggest hardware lock suppliers in the world. And they have stores and distribution throughout the United States. We are in the lock business. And I came to Miami and I saw some of your products. I saw your hinges and I'd like to sell your hinges along with my locks. And he says, would you mind selling it to me? And As a matter of fact, at the time, I didn't even have a catalog. He said, I'd like to get your catalog. So we put together a really 2-page catalog and sent it to him. And you won't believe, he started to sell in my locks, my hinges, and my other products. And he had distribution in every city in America. Dave took my products, gave it to all his divisions in America, and now I was in every city without spending a dime. I was able to have national distribution from that day on.
From that day, he has grown. Knight, making our days here at St. George's College as he keeps passing it on.
He felt he learned a lot from the school, and he felt a great deal of loyalty towards them, towards the school, towards this institution, that maybe if he had not gone there, he would not be where he is today. And this is what he feels, this loyalty, this deep, deep loyalty that he feels inside of his heart.
The grand announcement in the middle of the interview, from the heart, a contribution of $10 million to mark the school's 175th anniversary, to be spread over 5 key areas of development.
I'd like to announce that I'm going to give back a present of $10 million to St. George's College for the 175th birthday. The funds that I give today, the $10 million, be split up in 5 sections. Number 1, we're going to split up the 10 million in 20% sections. And the first 20% I would like to be used by the principal and for the teachers and all the employees at St. George's College to be shared and to upgrade their salaries and to make adjustments for their salaries. The next 20% would be for the building improvements. For instance, upgrading painting, keep up the grounds, to beautify the grounds, and for irrigation and landscaping. The next 20% will be for sports equipment, and sports improvement and management and coaching. And the teachers and the group, the principal and a special group can determine what that would be. The next 20% would be used for computers and upgrading computers and technology, and for general improvement of equipment on the campus. The last 20% would be for scholarships for needy incoming students, and also a portion of that be used for exceptionally bright and talented existing students at the school.
Coordinator of this program is to be Principal Margaret Campbell.
Margaret and I got along really well. We hit it off from the beginning, and I believe in her, I trust her, and I know that she is doing a good job, and I would like definitely for her and a select group to carry through the wishes that I have.
The message to the graduates and STGC community.
As I look at the boys who have become men, the ones who have benefited from their time at St. George's and have gone on to make an impact on the world, we are doing a tremendous work. We want them to have an encounter with God, firstly. That's our primary goal. And out of that encounter, to seek excellence in everything you do. To be good, just to be good. Not for accolades, but just to be good. The accolades will come. That's the nature of life. but just to be good people who do the best in whatever field they choose.
We give thanks for all of the outstanding graduates we have produced from time immemorial, and we expect and hope that those who are there now will carry forward that legacy, not expecting a smooth road, but anticipating that the hurdles to come will be cleared.
I still give back to St. George's College in certain ways. And currently I'm also helping the class of 1976 with their annual scholarship program for the selection of candidates at St. George's College for the awards. I serve on the STGC Hall of Fame committee for St. George's College. I think I'm the youngest member of that committee, all because had it not been for St. George's College, I would not be sitting here today.
It inspires me to know that whenever I leave the school, it's always a good thing to give back, right? To the very same place that gave me the foundation that I needed to make that great impact in life. Yes, that's what I think about Philip Wong.
I dare say, STGC, let's hope and pray that you can and shall produce more Philip Wongs to carry forward the legacy and to sustain STGC beyond the 175th anniversary.
You have to have it in your heart to give, and you have to like to give. And the funny thing is, every time I give, it seemed like more come back to me.